West Coast? What ocean's on the East Coast?
On the west, you have the Pacific Ocean. No, just kidding, it's the Pacific Ocean. Welcome back to my channel. As always, I'm happy you made your way back here. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm going to do that bit in the beginning now, that way you don't forget. Today we're going to talk about everyone's favorite topic, immigration. The reason we're talking about this topic is because Jan and I recently went to New York. And one of the places that we explored was Ellis Island. And in Ellis Island, they had a little section in the museum that was all about becoming a United States citizen, and they had a wall full of questions, and we tried to test ourselves there. Wait, pick a random question on the list. There's 100 questions, literally.
54. How old do citizens have to be to vote for president?
18.
Ocean's on the West Coast? What ocean's on the East Coast?
On the west, you have the Pacific Ocean. No, just kidding, it's the Pacific Ocean. On the east, it's the Atlantic Ocean. No idea why I'm doubting myself so much.
There are 13 original states. Name 3.
I'm gonna say New York, Virginia, and Delaware. Do you have 3 others?
Rhode Island. Pennsylvania. New Jersey.
Without pressure.
If both the president and vice president can no longer serve, who becomes president?
Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Now myself, I am an immigrant. I came to the United States on November 11, 2002. I was born and grew up in the Philippines until I was 7 years old. I became a United States citizen on September 11, 2008. And I call myself a piggyback citizen because I didn't actually have to take the citizenship test. I remember the only part that I had to really help with was the interview portion. When you come here, you have a certain amount of time to apply for citizenship. And from there, it takes 6 to 8 years for your citizenship request to even be processed. Then you must go through an interview process. Then you have to pass the test that they have. And then you have to take an oath in front of a judge. Now that is my knowledge because that is what my mom went through. However, when my mom applied to be a United States citizen, it was only her that had to take the test as well as do the oath. And because of the fact I was 13, so I was under the age of 18 at the time, the citizenship trickled down to me. And yeah, that's how I became a citizen. And we're going to see if we can become United States citizens all on our own.
Hi, I'm Jan. I was born here. That's it. For my mom's side, my mom was born in the States, but my grandparents both immigrated. My grandmother actually came through Ellis Island. That was one of the reasons why when we went to New York we wanted to visit. I wanted to try to find her records. Unfortunately, the record collection office was closed temporarily. My father immigrated as well into the U.S. I remember speaking to him briefly about it. I've never gotten into the weeds with it, and I've never really thought about my family being immigrants. Up until fairly recently in my life, I just took it for granted because I was born and raised in the States, so I never had to think about immigration in that regard. So yeah, I'm excited to learn more about this.
So we are taking this test from the official website of the Department of Homeland Security, the U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services. Let's get started. Question number 1. During the Cold War, what was the main concern of the United States? The main concern of the United States was beating the Russians. Their secondary concern was communism. Wow, it was communism. Name one U.S. territory. Puerto Rico's not an option here. I am upset. Guam. Correct. What are the two parts of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives? That's an easy one. Fun history lesson. So fun fact about the way our government is structured. So we have 100 members in Senate, 2 per state, and we have a lot in the representatives because the idea that the founding fathers wanted to try to set up is they wanted to try to balance the government amongst the people. So the idea of having just a set number of representatives per state would have given more power to people who lived in states with a lot less people, right? Because if your state only has 10 people and 2 senators, every 5 people influence a single senator. But if you had strictly a system that was based on population, the highly populous states would control the government. So states like Texas, California, and New York that have a lot of our U.S. population would basically control the government, which is true, but that's not what they wanted. To avoid having these imbalances either way, they had to compromise by having one of each, one that was balanced per state and one that was balanced per population. So that way, the scales wouldn't lean one way or the other. Name one war fought by the United States in the 1800s. Did we find the war of 1812? Mexican-American War. That one. Also the Civil War. The idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? We the people. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? The other 2? It's checks and balances, technically. That's what they're looking for. Fun fact, the Declaration of Independence was actually signed in 1776, as some of you might know. However, the Constitution itself, or what we would call the Bill of Rights, wasn't written down until about, I want to say 1785, perhaps? 83, 85? No, not the point. 1787. It says so right here. Anyway, so in 1787. So for about 11 years, the US was just like, we're a country now. I don't know what we're doing, but we're a country. And that was basically what they did for 11 years until they realized they should probably put some rules and regulations and laws in place. The Constitution is very interesting in a lot of ways. One of which is that its separation of governance was unique at the time. Now we kind of take it for granted, but there really wasn't a system like that in which the 3 main functions of the government are completely separate from each other. So the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch are completely separate from each other. And more so than that, the sort of governance aspect was separated from the what you could call the executionary or the enforcement aspect of governance. Again, very interesting. Not the time for this. Wow, 10 out of 10 right. Saying the eagle would be proud. Caca. I am an eagle now.
So Jan did the first half of this quiz, and I'm going to do the second half. He did get a perfect score, which is fine. I'm not scorned whatsoever, but I'm going to do my best. The House of Representatives has how many voting members? 435, 100, 441, 200. My gut says 450. 450 it is. 435, yeah! What movement tried to end racial discrimination? Many movements tried to end racial discrimination, but more specifically, civil rights movement. Who was the first president? George Washington's coming home. Is that right? George Washington's coming home. I started thinking about Thomas Jefferson. It's George Washington. Also, I don't want to sing anymore. Lin-Manuel Miranda, don't copyright me. How many justices are on the Supreme Court? Well, there are only 2 that really matter, and it's the 2 female ones. But I guess there are 9. Stupid Brett Kavanaugh. Who did the United States fight in World War II? Japan, Germany, and Italy. Fun fact, I know this because during World War II, the Philippines, my original country, was under siege by Japan. But I also know this because I played Call of Duty World at War. Who was president during World War I? I don't know. I'm gonna guess Franklin Roosevelt. Nope, it was Woodrow Wilson. I knew in my heart I wanted to pick Woodrow Wilson because it made me think of Woody Woodpecker, but no, I didn't. I went with Franklin Roosevelt, who was well known for his role in Night at the Museum. What are two cabinet level positions? Okay, here we go. Secretary of Weather and Secretary of Energy, Secretary of Interior and Secretary of History, Secretary of State and Secretary of Labor, Secretary of Health and Human Services, and Secretary of the Navy. Okay, so I took another quiz and I got Secretary of Interior wrong because I thought that wasn't a real position. So I'm gonna go with Secretary of the Interior and Secretary of History. I was wrong. It's Secretary of State and Secretary of Labor. It's fine. Hey! Together, we answered 18 out of 20 questions correctly. However, technically, I got an 8 out of 10, which is still an 80. All my life, I wanted to be an A+, while all I could ever be is a B-. Well, Jan got a 10 out of 10, which is fitting because he's a 10 out of 10. And I got an 8 out of 10, which I think is fitting for me because I'm the actual immigrant here. He has American privilege, but I'm not gonna get into that. Anyways, I hope the American government sees this and that we have proof that we are both patriotic saints of America. As always, like I mentioned before, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, have a magical day.
That's what you do when you're an American, right? You become an eagle. Is that right? Do you get a free eagle? Where's my eagle? Does my eagle come in the mail, or is it mailed over, or do I have to go pick it up at a location? If you know where I pick up my eagle, I'd like to know that information.